had access to the greatest professors, and professors had access to the students. The professors got weird and strange ideas from the students and turned them into great breakthroughs in their field. And the students gained inspiration by being close to some famous names in science and other fields of study. But when I saw these people who were experts in their field, I saw how stupid they were in life. They had Nobel prizes in chemistry. They were always arguing with their wife and having trouble with their children. So I realized that there was a great difference between the wisdom and knowledge which you get at university and the wisdom and knowledge which you get in the forests, in a Buddhist monastery learning meditation. And I saw that wisdom in Ajahn. He was inspiring. He was a Nobel laureate. He had the Nobel Peace Prize. He was very peaceful. So that inspired me. It wasn't so much what he said, but the way he lived. Because I, as an educated man, I know it's very easy to say wise things and inspire other people with witty sayings. But it's how you live really inspires people. And having stayed with that master for so many years and observed him over such a long time, we never saw any flaws of selfishness or greed or anger in him at all. And that was so inspiring. You see, as he talked, so he lived. That was inspiring. It was authentic, it was real. A real muck. No, because I've seen those snakes and beasts and ghosts for such a long time. It's strange that it's not any result of deep meditation or great wisdom. But I've always had a great empathy for snakes. Never scared of them, but having a natural compassion. But it's quite strange, and I don't know why. But whenever I see a snake, I walk towards them. Which is why they will never ever bite me. I've had snakes. I'm treading on snakes in Thailand. I've had, the story of me urinating on a snake. Hasn't been a funny story here yet. So this was one funny story of living in Thailand. We would meditate all night, or once a week. So we'd go without sleep for 24-30 hours. And after meditating all night, normally we were very dozy in the early morning. So once the session was finished, just at dawn, my mindfulness was not very strong, and I went out into the forest to urinate. Because it's a forest, just like in the villages of Indonesia, you just go into a piece of forest and just squat down and urinate. And that's what I did, squatting down, ancient tradition, and I thought I was urinating on a stick. Remember, it was the first light of day, I was a bit tired, and the stick started to move. There was a snake. I was urinating on a snake. Now remember, I'm talking to Andika Vijayananda, who's a male, and you know, all you males, the most sensitive part of your whole body is just a couple of inches from the snake's mouth. And that's very scary. But that snake, it didn't bite me at all, it didn't even raise its head, it just enjoyed every minute. Because I'm sure that snake thought it was being sprinkled with holy water. And you can't get more holy than the organ of a monk. It was warm too, so in the cold climate we loved that. So the snake loved being peed on. So that's how close we were to snakes. There was no fear there at all. And the same with all the other animals. There was a great sense of seeing those other animals fear. They were far more afraid of you than you were of them. So you could empathize with them, just to make sure that they were fearing, and they could go along with their business, unimpeded, and I go along with mine. We protect each other. So I was very protective of the snakes. There was one time that the villagers, there was a snake in our monastery, and the villagers had surrounded it and were trying to beat it to death. And I was so upset, I went and shouted at those villagers, "Leave that poor snake alone. Leave that snake alone." And unfortunately they didn't, they killed it in front of me. And I had just to let go. But to me, I really tried to protect that snake, because I felt a lot of empathy for it. So I'm not afraid of them, I really do care about them. I was just very fussy when I was growing up in England. I only liked certain things. But then when you have to eat such poor food, and it was the most disgusting food, probably in almost the whole world. Many other monks in those days had travelled to many different parts of the world. We'd often discuss the food in northeast Thailand, and many of us would agree that it was the most disgusting we'd ever eaten in the whole world. Even many people, Thai people from Bangkok or South Thailand and North Thailand, they would not go to the northeast because even they could not stand the food. But it was all the villagers had to give us to eat. And if it was a frog or if it was a snail, they always give us the best frogs or the best snails. And I always remembered that these were incredibly poor people, and they were sharing this small amount of food they had with me. So I did feel a lot of gratitude for what they were giving to me. Even though I was malnourished for many years. I didn't really get enough to eat, but I had enough inspiration and faith and good meditation to survive. It was very, very poor food. But for the kids in the cities, please remember there are some, because you've been without food before, there's many other people who've been without food. Just to go without food for a little while, you really appreciate just when you have got some good vegetables or good this or good that. Please appreciate it, because there may come the day when you don't have that. Just like I had not good food for many years, so I appreciate food now. When I first realized you'd have to abandon many, many days, hours, years in building a monastery, I didn't like the idea. Because I preferred just to sit down and meditate. That was my joy, that was my happiness, to be a simple monk. And to instead spend such a great amount of time building a monastery was very, very hard. But it needed to be done. And like anything else, you throw yourself into something, give it 100% effort. And I realized many years later it was because I was doing something very good for a worthy cause, and I was giving it 100% effort. It was a form of preparation for meditation which paid great dividends later on. These days I tell people, it's not what you do, whether you're sitting cross-legged or whether you're mixing concrete. It's how you do that which is the most important part. If you become selfless and just do this because it needs to be done, instead of having great striving and craving to make sure it's the most best concrete has ever been mixed, you make peace and contentment the most important thing, and you just do it with happiness and joy. Then you find the skills which you learn in mixing concrete are exactly the same skills you use when washing the breath. You're not demanding and asking too much, you're just being gentle and kind with your breath. And that way you soon get a beautiful monastery built, and you soon get very powerful meditation as well. And it was a great achievement. So 28 years ago when we bought the land for our monastery in Perth, and the amount of sweat and blood, my own personal blood, which has gone on those buildings, because when you're building, you're going to cut yourself, you're going to wound yourself. That is to be expected. I've done so much that when I look back upon it, I look back with so much joy. You've done something very beautiful and wonderful. You built a monastery, which is not just home for many, many, many monks. it's also an inspiration for people who come and visit. It's not a gaudy monastery with marble and chandeliers. It's a very simple monastery, but very well built. And many people have commented that when people put up these big, magnificent buildings, like a resort, it loses what a forest monastery should be, which is a practical monastery, but simple. You don't need to decorate it. It's not a theme park. It's not sort of like Disneyland, like Buddha Land or Meditation Land, a theme park. It's a monastery, so simplicity inspires people. So I have inspired people by the very sight of that monastery. An example for you. It was some years ago, a man came to see me. He worked in the local government. There's a person who decides whether the building will get allowed or not allowed, called a building inspector. And he came to see me saying he was about to retire, and he came to say thank you. I asked him why, and he said because every time he felt stressed at work, he would get in his car and drive 10 minutes to our monastery car park and just sit in his car, because a Buddhist monastery was a place of such peace and stillness that he didn't need to talk to anybody. He could just feel the stillness and peace, calm down, and go back to work a changed person. He just thanked me for the car park and the peace which we built up over all the years. Even 2 weeks ago, there was a missing person who we considered the police thought he may have committed suicide. And he parked his car opposite our monastery and disappeared, and for 3 or 4 days the police and helicopters were searching for him, but never found him. But afterwards, the head of the police, who came to see me again, he was so stressed out, he just asked permission just to go in our hall. I was meditating for an hour. This is the head of the local police force in Australia. I don't know if he's a Buddhist or not, but just the resource of building a place where you can find some peace is just a wonderful gift for others. So I'm very, very happy. I've given so much of my life to building that. The most important thing to do in life is smile. When you smile, then number one, you sort of, whatever you do hurts less. So if you have to go and see the doctor or the dentist, or you have to do some project or find a way through the busy traffic in the morning, if you frown, it's much more painful. If you smile, it hurts less. It energizes you and gives you positive thinking, and it makes you more attractive to others. Sometimes I go and see people and they're just so miserable. They're always frowning or look like they're just had some big argument or been sentenced to death or something. They look so miserable. And it's great to see people smiling. It cheers everybody up. So sometimes that you create misery around you by not learning how to smile. One of the greatest things you can do in life is to learn how to smile. And most importantly, because I'm a monk, but when you meditate, for goodness sake, smile. You see so many people meditating and they're gritting their teeth, they're having a hard time. That is no way to meditate. The best posture to meditate, I don't care if you're sitting cross-legged, if you're standing up, sitting upside down, I don't care what you're doing as long as you're smiling. That's the most important part of your posture. That's a great question, because recently I did a bhikkhuni ordination which caused problems in Thailand, and somebody asked me, do you have any regrets? The regrets aren't part of my character, because if you look back in the past, you cannot sort of redo the decision again. You can not think, oh, if I'd have done something else, who knows what might have happened. You can't do that. So a lot of times people live in the past with regrets or anger or guilt, And I think that's one of the most stupid ways to use their money. So I have no regrets at all. Whatever I did, I had to do. There was a reason behind it. You made your choices and that was done. And you just get on with it. So you don't look back into the past. Nobody lived like that. There is an English word, I don't think this will come out in the translation. It's an English word called the ineffable. Ineffable is an English word trying to describe like a god or nirvana or something which is so hard to describe. It's ineffable. So it's a religious word. And I changed that a little bit to say the past is ineffable. You can't say if I did this, if I did that. The past is ineffable. You can't say if. You can't have regrets. Because who knows what might have happened if you return left instead of right in the past. You don't know what might have happened. It could have been better, it could have been worse. And as you all know, good, bad, who knows? So I have no regrets at all. I'm not saying that everything I did was good, but who knows? Well, things which make me happy, everything. So you have things which you really enjoy, like a good cup of tea, or you see a funny video on Garuda on the way here. But that sort of makes me laugh. But sort of happiness, or what makes me happy, is even all of life, even like when you see people suffering. Because you see someone who just say lost their mother or lost their father recently, or you see someone who is bankrupt, or see someone who's just lost their girlfriend. And that makes me sort of happy because I realise this is just like life. And it's a thing we all have to go through. And yeah, it might hurt at the moment, but later on it's going to bring me so much wisdom and compassion. So I'm just happy about the whole of life. And that's why it's actually quite easy that sometimes people come up and they're crying and they're sad, and I just can't help but laugh. And they think, what are you laughing at me for? I've just been told I've got cancer and I'm dying. What are you laughing for? So, well, why not? Because it's part of life and I'm happy for you. You're going to die soon and get out of here. So it is a super positive attitude which comes from understanding the nature of life. There is a meaning to life, and that meaning is just when it's hurting, you make the best of it and learn from it. That's like going to work. No one enjoys work, which is why you have to get paid to go there. So, the suffering in life, we don't like it, but we have to do it. That's our work, where we learn about things. So I'm happy that we're going to work. We're suffering, we're sick, we're getting disappointed. And then when you're having a very good time, that's like the weekends, or you're on holiday, you're on vacation, you're enjoying the fruits of your work. Well, this is wonderful. So you're happy whatever happens. And I'm serious that even at my mother's funeral, some other people would cry, and they weren't so closely related to my mother. I was happy, I was smiling, laughing. So I don't see why other people have the right to feel sad when I'm her son, and I'm not sad. They should be happy too, like me. Sadness, what do you want to feel sad for? So I don't understand sadness these days. Because people do stupid things. They learn. I just look upon myself like looking at like a school teacher. A school teacher has little kids, and they do really stupid things sometimes. If they do stupid things, you don't feel bad about them. They're not bad people, they're just learning. Kids are learning about life. They're allowed to make mistakes. And I don't see why adults aren't allowed to make mistakes also. Because we're also learning about life. Doesn't matter how old you are, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years of age, you are all allowed to make mistakes. Because that's called learning. So don't feel sad about mistakes. It's learning. So look upon mistakes in the same way that children look upon mistakes. Yeah, they learn from it and they just let it go almost immediately and they get on with their playing. So So I don't see that sadness. And that's for others to judge. I'm happy, but I suppose I'm a bit of a failure because I aim to become a simple monk and have a nice simple life and just spend most of my time in the cave. So I failed at that miserably. So I'm joking. So whatever happens in life, you don't look at success or failure. I mean, just you do what you do. Other people say, oh, wonderful thing you did. Other people say it's a stupid thing they did. No one else really knows what you did and why you did it. So you don't judge success and failure, but you get lots of joy out of what you've done. And lots of happiness. So I suppose by other people's standards, you say you're a successful monk. I don't know what a successful monk is. So maybe somebody out there so much smarter than me. Some of those other monks, they never wrote a book, so they can just take it easy all the time. I must be stupid, I have to work so hard. So many times people ask you that question, and there is no me inside to become enlightened. So it's very hard to say, I'm looking inside of me.